this is Jenny from Bending Road. I am so glad you could join me today as we make this journey of life together. No matter where you go in life, two things are for certain. You will eventually come to a bend in the road, and God will always see you through. Thanks for joining me today.
We don't always know what all the bends in our road are going to look like. We can't always know what is around the next corner. We don't generally know in advance when we're going to take that last bend. But along the journey, we meet many people, and we don't travel this way alone, do we? Whether we know it or not, we can have a major impact on the people that we meet along the way. And at some point, it will be too late to let them know how we feel about them or how they have touched our lives, even if it's in a small way. On March 24th, 2015, you may or may not recall, but Airbus A320-211 crashed in the French Alps. All 144 passengers and 6 crew members were killed. The news report said that the people on board knew for about 8 minutes that these were their last moments. I considered that for a couple of days, and I wondered what we would do if we knew we had 8 minutes left on this earth. Would we call a family member? There's probably only time for one. Which one would we call? Would we text as many of them as we could, maybe in a group? But what can we say in just a few short characters? After a whole day of just thinking about that, I decided to write a letter to those people whom I love, to those people who have touched my lives. Now, I don't remember today who would have received these letters back then, but I realized today that if it's not too late, I should do it again. I still have this letter that I wrote to them back in March of 2015. This was just before my husband Dave and I took our renewal leave for Israel. That was a huge bend in the road for us, and we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how it was all going to play out. We were kind of going it alone, not with a tour group. So we had some nerves about that whole thing. My letter ended in an odd place. It was just kind of a ... at the end. And that's because for each person, I wrote a little personal message for that person, and then I just mailed them out. I want to encourage you today to think about who you would write a letter to. Who, if you had 8 minutes left, who would you want to contact and what would you want to say? And this is not about being depressing. It's about celebrating what you love about your family member, your friend, your loved one, and what you want to make sure they know before it's too late. I highly recommend you handwrite these letters. It's so much more of a personal touch, and it reveals your heart on paper. Again, I typed the main body of the letter, but each person got a note, a personal note at the bottom. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. I want to read that letter to you.
If you're watching on YouTube and if you have been encouraged by this message, I would love it if you would hit that thumbs up button. You can also click the subscribe button so that you will know when I upload my next video. In this way, we work together to encourage each other as we travel life together and navigate the bends in our road.
Welcome back. On March 26, 2015, I wrote this letter. Dear, and I filled in the blank. This morning I was thinking about the 150 people on the plane that crashed recently. It is my understanding that they had about 8 minutes knowing that the plane was going down and the situation was out of control. 8 minutes. What would I do with 8 minutes? I realized that my first impulse would be to make sure that the people around me knew Jesus and that I can leave this world knowing that we will all be together in heaven when it is over. However, I will admit that my first thought was, how can I message everyone and tell them how much I love them? I realized that the people on board that flight probably didn't have enough time to think clearly and do that. Or if they did, they probably didn't have enough cell service to adequately carry out their plan. So I wondered to myself, how can I do that today? How would I contact people? What would I say? What would my last words be to those whom I love? Now I want you to know that I am not anticipating any trouble with our flights to Israel and back, and I am not expecting anything but a safe return to normal life after our renewal leave. However, I realized this morning it does not make sense to wait until my last 8 minutes to tell you how I feel. This is why I am writing you today. So in a period of 8 minutes today, I want to stop and tell you, and then I hand wrote the rest of the message. You may not be taking a trip to Israel. You may not be going on a renewal leave or going away for an extended period of time. But why wait? Why wait until you only have 8 minutes left to remember all those people that you want to speak to, that you want to tell them, you touched my life in this way? Don't wait. Take some time today and just write a personal note and say, this is what I want to tell you. And it's not just for family. It's not just for close friends or for children. This is for everybody who has touched you. Make sure that you leave people knowing how much you love them and how much of an impact they were on your life. I hope you'll join me next time for our next Bend in the Road.
If you have not done so already, connect with me on my website or on Facebook and let me know how I can pray for you as you navigate the bend in your road. I hope you have been encouraged today, and I pray that when you see the bend in your road, you will not be afraid, but will take the hand of God and keep walking. You are not alone. See you next time.